Tough week last week for picks, really tough. Went 8-6 with picks last week. Overall, 68-36 on the year, so still doing pretty good. But last week was pretty brutal. Missed some big games, and I anticipate this week is probably going to be more difficult because there's a lot of chalk. So let's get started picking games. If you're new here, this is the board. I'm going to pick every single outcome for all of the NFL games for Week 8, beginning with the Falcons and the Panthers. Thursday Night Football kicks off in a few hours, so you might not see this in time for that game, but I'm actually kind of excited to watch this one. Number one, I want to see Teddy Bridgewater. They've done very well this season on offense, even without Christian McCaffrey, so I don't believe Christian McCaffrey is going to be playing in this game. So it's going to be a lot of Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, and DJ Moore. And just to get to see, I haven't gotten to actually see Teddy play for a while now. I didn't get to see any of his Saints games last year, so I'm not, never really interested in watching New Orleans play. But just the fact that this is in prime time, it's the Panthers. They're doing a lot better this year than they should be, or at least everybody thought they would be, given the inexperience on defense and the fact that they have a brand new head coach who just came over from the college ranks. They seem to be putting together a pretty decent season, and they could be in contention for a playoff spot. The Falcons, number two reason I want to see this game is to see if the Falcons create a new way to lose, because they've just come up with every sort of different way to lose this season that we previously did not even consider. The accidental touchdown, the onside kick, blowing fourth quarter leads. It's good fun. It's good bad fun, if you will. So for the game, I'm going to pick the Panthers to win this one. I like what they're doing this season. I like Teddy Bridgewater. This would really wouldn't throw the Falcons into any more chaos than they're already in, but I think it would just raise further questions heading into the trade deadline, which I don't think they're going to participate in that, but at the same time, the chance is greater than zero. Patriots and Bills. The Bills have fallen back down to earth a little bit after the first couple of weeks of the season. Josh Allen was a top 10 quarterback for a number of weeks, and then I think for the past couple, he's been somewhere around the middle of the pack. So this will be a statement game for Buffalo. If they are the team that everybody thinks that they are, they should win this game and put their stamp on the division as they continue to run to the top of it. On the other side, the Patriots are going to be without Julian Edelman, who has the midseason knee surgery. It's just been an overall rough season for New England. Just the fact that they had so many opt-outs and then the injuries pile up. N'Keal Harry is not developing well. Sonny Michel goes to IR. Damian Harris comes back, has a good 100-yard game, and then the next game is just it's nothing, and now he's showing up on the injury report. They really lack a tight end. Dalton Keene and Ossie haven't really been that productive. And Cam Newton's been fine, but the problem has just been that the talent around him is just so subpar, and they really don't know what to do. And anytime they throw a backup in there like Jared Stidham or Brian Hoyer, it's a disaster. So potential for a bounce back. I think Bill Belichick is motivated, but I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win this game because I think they're a good team, and good teams beat bad teams, and right now the Patriots are a bad team, and it's just a weird circumstance that we have to talk about that for the first time in what feels like 20 years, right? Titans and Bengals, moving on to them. Titans got punched in the mouth last week against the Steelers. I don't think they were ready to feel that one. But you can tell in the post-game and the post-week media coverage leading up to this game that they're aware that they got, some of their flaws got exposed. So I think we'll see a good team bounce back against the Bengals team that just lost the Browns. I'm going to go with the Titans in this one. I think the Bengals defense is just bad, so I think Ryan Tannehill will have a bounce-back performance. Raiders and Browns, speaking of Cleveland, the Browns' defense is also bad. Let's not sugarcoat it. Their secondary and their front seven aren't really nothing to be that afraid of, right? So I think given that situation, I'm going to have to give the edge to the Raiders, who have a really good passing offense with Henry Ruggs and Nelson Aguilar. I don't know who on this defense is going to be able to cover Darren Waller at all. And then you've got Josh Jacobs for whenever you need the defense to respect the run. So I have to give this one to the Raiders pretty easily. Baker Mayfield's going to have to do a lot more than he did against Cincinnati in the first half. The first half was pretty atrocious, and then the second half he came out, they corrected everything, they got the right plays in place, and they were able to win the game, move the ball down the field. But again, it's against the Bengals, so if he can reproduce that, that experience or that performance against the Raiders, I will move the needle in the other direction for the Browns. But I think right now they're kind of a middling, on the cusp team for the playoffs. Still have an opportunity, but they face some tough games down the stretch. Colts and Lions. Boy, Colts have a really good defense. Offense, not so much. It's kind of plagued by the fact that Phillip Rivers is a walking corpse in terms of a career. He's probably should be done after this season. The Lions just came back against the Falcons. Everybody except the Vikings can do that, so I don't know really how much of an accomplishment that is. But I think in this situation, I have to give the edge to the Lions, because ever since Kenny Golladay come back, the offense has opened up. Hopefully they free DeAndre Swift at some point and give him more carries, considering he is the most talented running back of the group. They also did just go out and trade for Everson Griffin, so that indicates that they're all in on the season despite the 3-3 record. So I'm going to go with Detroit get to 4-3 and to get above 500, and that would leave the Vikings as the only sub 500 team in this division, which is sad. Speaking of the Vikings, good segue. We open up the second half of the season after the bye week with a game at Lambeau Field against Green Bay. We got absolutely embarrassed by them in our home stadium in week 1 to open the season. I anticipate that that's going to happen again. The Vikings injury report is not good, with the amount of corners that are missing from practice. Cam Dantzler has been put on the COVID-19 list. Mike Hughes' season could be lost, given he has re-aggravated a neck injury. And so we're going to be stuck with Jeff Gladney and Holton Hill, and probably not too much of anything else at the corner position, allowing Adam Lazard and Devontae Adams to have a field day. Even if it was just Devontae Adams and nobody else, I would still give the edge to the Packers. They might be without Aaron Jones this week, but that's okay, because Jamal Adams is a pretty good fill-in. I have to give this to the Packers. There is no way I can respectfully pick the Vikings to win this game. It would be the upset of the year, in my opinion. It's funny because somebody mentioned in a mailbag question, like, how crazy would it be if the Vikings just exceeded all expectations and just fuck shit up against Green Bay? And it would be the wildest thing to consider. Moving on to the Jets and the Chiefs, I really don't have to spend much time on this one. I understand the Chiefs are going to say all the right things, that you can't overlook an opponent in this league, and that is true. But I think the Jets are, coming into that ridiculous conversation territory where we begin to consider, are they good enough to beat the best team in college football? It's always, it's always a 50-50 split when it comes to that conversation, because, you consider how a football team, a National League football team, even the worst one on the field, is still a better roster than the best college football team because of experience, size, age, and speed. But, the Jets have Adam Gase, and he's the X factor, so he probably could lose to Alabama if situation came to it. So I don't expect the Jets to really do much of anything other than just try not to embarrass themselves. Moving on to the Rams and the Dolphins. Excited to watch this one. This is the debut of Tua Tagovailoa as the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Tough matchup for your first outing. Aaron Darnold and Jalen Ramsey just kind of made the Bears look pretty foolish on Monday Night Football. And I anticipate that, the Dolphins will probably do better. They seem to have a bit of a better team than expected this year, and a really good head coach in Brian Flores, who I expect to get the most out of his guys. So it'll be interesting to see his debut. Unfortunately, I think the Rams are the better team. They're headed to the playoffs. Dolphins are probably going to miss it. I give the win to the Rams. Steelers and Ravens is your best matchup of the week, the most marquee one on the board. This is tough. This is really tough, given the fact that this could go a number of ways. It's a division rival, longtime division rival. Division games are always different, right? You can't just anticipate the best team to walk in and win the game. You also can't anticipate a team that is undefeated to remain undefeated much longer. Of course, there's precedent for that, but it's extraordinarily difficult to win every single game and to go on these really long win streaks in this league. It's not easy. You always run into something. And the Ravens are definitely something to take seriously, because, despite the problems with Mark Ingram and the injury department right now, still have a very good roster. But I have to give the edge to the Pittsburgh Steelers because it's it's the best defensive line in the game right now. Absolute best defensive line in the game. Really good defense overall. And the passing offense, how do you, divvy up the workload in your secondary against this team that has Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, James Washington, Eric Ebron, and Chase Claypool? It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare scenario for a defensive coordinator. So they're going to have to get pressure on Ben Roethlisberger, force some bad passes. I don't think they can do that often enough. Despite, Yannick Ngakoue now being in Baltimore, I have to give this one to Pittsburgh. I can't pick against them just because the Ravens are a tough matchup. This is the battle of the Giants. This is potentially a playoff matchup. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh until I'm proven otherwise. Chargers and Broncos. This one's a lot easier. I'm going to go with Chargers. Justin Herbert's making a case for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Just an outstanding debut this season from the Oregon rookie. And it was funny because a lot of people were asking, like, A, what was the hang up on this kid? And it was those, I talked about this earlier in the year, if you're familiar with those videos, the leadership questions, which ended up being, proven incorrect given his attitude at the Senior Bowl. And then B, how come this isn't the same type of performances that we saw at Oregon? Well, the Oregon offensive coordinator took over at UNLV, and that UNLV offense right now is trash. So that should be some indication of how he's adjusted to the next level, getting away from an offensive coordinator that wasn't very good. So I'm going to go Chargers over Broncos in this battle of division rivals. Next, we have the Saints and the Bears. Bears are fraudulent. They're now 5-2. And I think that they're going to struggle to win games going forward. Allen Robinson is in the concussion protocol. I don't know if he'll be available for this one. I think if they free Darnell Mooney, they'll probably have a better offense, let him stretch the field. The problem is that Nick Foles just needs time to throw the ball. I know they went up against Aaron Donald in that Rams front seven on Monday night, but at the same time, it's like, yeesh, it's reminiscent of the zero time that anybody has to pass in Minnesota. So Michael Thomas was spotted at practice today. That's a huge improvement. The matchup, I think, this is going to be defense. The Saints have a good defense. The Bears have a good defense. Khalil Mack, Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Davenport, Akeem Hicks. So I think this might be more of a defensive matchup than people realize. And I think the first team to score 20 points probably wins. So, and I think that team, the capable of doing that is New Orleans. So I'll give them the win. Next, 49ers, Seahawks. Boy, 49ers, speaking of losing the battle of attrition, they cannot stay healthy at key positions, and they were without Deebo Samuel and Jeff Wilson Jr. for this one. So, I'm going to say, Russell Wilson continues to cook, and not the 49ers, Seahawks, brain fart, Seahawks win that game. 2 games left, Cowboys, Eagles. Ben DiNucci is going to be probably making his starting quarterback debut for the Cowboys on Sunday night. This is a wild season. And it's because I remember him from James Madison, having been to the Youngstown State University. James Madison was one of the teams that you would run into the playoffs at the FCS level, so I'm all too familiar with that, and Ben DiNucci as well. And didn't expect to see him really at this level, really didn't. But I think the Cowboys have offensive problems bigger than quarterback because the offensive line is just a mess. Connor Williams, I think, is your only consistent so far on that offensive line at the left guard position. And then everything else is just in flux. Still have really good weapons. If they can somehow scheme up a way for Ben DiNucci to be successful early, they'll have a chance. The problem is that the Eagles have been playing good offense lately. The Cowboys' defense is atrocious. So it's hard to pick against Carson Wentz, who's finally getting out of the funk. They might have Jalen Reagor healthy for this. I'm going to go with the Eagles for this one to beat the Cowboys. Monday Night Football features the Bucs and the Giants. How are you going to pick against Tampa Bay? Really? I mean, come on. It'll probably be interesting just to watch to see how long the Giants can hang on. This defense is really, really good for Tampa Bay. I said it going into the season. It's probably going to be better than any of us ever could have imagined. It's turning out to be true, even with the loss of Vita Vea to IR for the season because of his broken leg. Antoine Winfield is making a case for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And Jason Pierre-Paul is one of the sack leaders this season. He's a top 5 in sacks so far. against an offense that features Daniel Jones, who is a turnover machine. I think this one's over by halftime, so Buccaneers get the win. Those are all my picks for Week 8. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.